Hey everybody, today's video, it's all about the power of the fist. There's taboos around it, there are a lot of different things to discuss, but let's just take it from the top and go from there, shall we? And do it nice and slow. I know that, speaking for myself, I definitely have discussions about sex with my friends, and we talk about all sorts of things. When the subject of fisting comes up, it's a mixed bag of reactions. Some people are scared. Some people are offended, for lack of a better term. Some people are extremely turned on, and all the ranges in between, right? The first association that most people think of when it comes to fisting seems to be gay men and anal fisting. And while that is definitely a thing, it's not the only thing. And I'm here to help maybe answer some questions you might have about what it is like and what it could be like. In fisting, there are three major things to make sure that you know. And no, none of those is safety. Why? Because safety is what I call a golden rule, and it should be the baseline to any sort of sexual experience, because safety and comfort is how you can enjoy and then feel free to experiment. And with fisting, it's even more important because being relaxed is a major aspect of what happens when it comes to fisting. So that being said, let's get to those three things. So the three things, one, lube. The second one, communication. And the third one, take it slow. They're all very important. And there's things that are under each of these and aspects to each of these that I'm going to discuss. I'm a fan of lube in any sort of penetrative activity. When it comes to sex, I do need to recommend a few things, and that is make sure you're getting a water-based lubricant that doesn't have any sugars or glycerin, however you'd like to look at it, and no oils of any kind, because we're water-based people and the toys don't like it. So if you're using toys on top of that, you know. And when it comes to fisting, you also really want to make sure there's no numbing agents. Some lubes come with numbing agents, and it's really important for everything to be able to be felt so that there's no damage done during this interaction. When it comes to preference for lube, it's an ingredient-led decision for me. That aside, I prefer pump style, like a soap dispenser. It's more hands-free. There's two downfalls to that. One is if you travel a lot for your sexual adventure, I wouldn't recommend the pump. It might leak. And that's the other part, which is occasion they leak, they'll drip. So maybe you put a towel under it or whatnot. But you know, lots of different lubricants are great. I would suggest buying from a queer place. If it's Black owned, that would be even better. And if anybody knows any, please comment down below with the link to places that you prefer to buy your lube at, especially Black owned or queer owned, please. the subject of fisting comes up with one of your lovers. And this is when the communication starts, because being open and listening to what it is that they're asking for is super important. Sometimes people can be asking for fisting without even realizing that that's what they're asking for. They don't know that their body can feel a certain aspect of things. For me personally, I have been fisted. I now only give, but back in the day. And it's, as far as I can remember, my personal opinion on it is, it's the feeling of being full, of feeling a whole part of you is inside a whole part of your lover. So you and your lover or lovers have communicated, and there seems to be some want and some need to either give or receive fisting. You've already purchased your lube. Now it's time to start. And going slow is so important in all aspects. And I mean, make sure it's been clearly communicated. Make sure you have the lube. Do not rush. Make sure that you're not just shoving your fist in there. That's not what this is about. There needs to be foreplay. It needs to be not the first activity, not the first penetrative activity, and definitely graduation up to that. And, you know, this goes more into technique. So here's some techniques, and this is literally how I would say to start. I know, I said it was a golden rule. These are specific to fisting, though. It tends to have a more possibility of tearing, right? Obviously, we don't want that, but it happens. So, safety precautions. There are fisting mitts, which are definitely better for deep fisters, and they go all the way up to the elbow at least, usually. There are gloves. You can use gloves for fisting as long as they go up to the wrist. If you are going deeper, though, I do recommend the glove. The other bonus aspect for those things is that lube doesn't get absorbed into them as quickly like it does your skin, because your skin's porous. So that can be an advantage, too. So you've warmed your partner up, you're lubed up, you've already maybe been fingering them for a minute. I'm going to be speaking specifically about vaginal fisting. If you're going to do this, you need to get down off of their body and go down between their legs. Therefore, you can have a straight line between what's going into their body and your elbow. It also frees up their body for the movement, because while fisting is a fullness thing, it's not a power thing. It can be, obviously, but that's not what it's about. In fact, at first, you're not going to be doing a lot of the moving as the giver. The receiver is going to be doing more of the moving. So it's time to enter the vagina. No, not like that. You do a graduation, right? Fingers, toys, whatnot. Before you totally get in there, and while you're doing this graduation, you're just rocking. You're allowing them to rock. And they will slowly rock their fist into your vagina. And once you've gone in to the vagina, do not move. Do you hear me? Do not move. Allow them to rock, just your fist being in there, preferably such as this, to the front of their body. So that this can rub on their G-spot, but you just hold. You hold in there and you let them rock. Once you're inside of the vagina, more lube, more communication. Make sure you're checking in with your partner on both sides. Make sure the person that's giving is feeling okay. You definitely need to make sure the person that's receiving is feeling okay. frequent check-ins is so important, and listen to your partner's body and try to work with that and go slow. Even when you're in there and you start to move, it's just like, maybe a little fist pump. Maybe you're just moving your fingers a little bit, or you're just still rocking. Your partner needs to tell you if it's something more than that. They need to, because you can really hurt somebody. It should be an enjoyable experience, and if it's done correctly, a mind-blowing one. That's the truth. So if it's so mind-blowing, why doesn't everybody do it? Those taboos that I was speaking about earlier, anything that's not the conventional missionary kind of sex tends to get a couple of side eyes. But fisting, so that also creates insecurities in both people who are receiving it and giving it. Sometimes it's a size thing. Sometimes it's just the feeling of not being enough. And for women who are receiving, there tends to be the loose vagina myth. And it really is a myth, because you could be fisted every day for years. It would not make a difference in the elasticity of your vagina. But you don't have to take my word for it. According to Medical News Today, it says that there's many myths about the effect of penetrative sex on the female body. There's no evidence that sex causes a loosening of the vagina over time. So when it's time to exit the vagina, make sure that you go very slow. It's also important to communicate the entire time. After you've exited, allow them to have that release. Aftercare is really important. Ask them what they need and make sure that they're okay. Their body, and especially their vagina, is going to feel like it just ran a marathon. And it is also important, it doesn't have to be immediately after, although it's fresh in your mind, and if you want to, fine. But you need to discuss this experience, things that were great, things that could have been better. Did it get to your expectations? Do you want to try it again? Or is it not your thing? All of that is a possibility. Two other things I'm going to touch on is there are other options besides having a partner to experience this. That feeling of fullness can be achieved. There are plenty of toys, large dildos, even other toys that are in the shape of fists. And you can experiment with those on your own. There is also self-love, because really this is a free sex toy, and I'm a big proponent of you exploring your own body. And if you have not fisted yourself yet, understandable, but I would encourage you to experiment with your vagina and see what feels good, because the more educated you are about what you like sexually, the better you can communicate that to your sexual partners. And the more enjoyable it can be for everybody, because pleasure is a revolution. Once you have established this initial interaction with this particular partner, because keep in mind that any new sexual partner is a new experience. I don't care how much overall experience you have. Everybody is different. Every interaction is different. So please start from the beginning and establish that baseline of communication. Once that's established, you can open it up. Other positions, other movements you want to try. You always want to keep in mind with your movements, your technique, use your knuckles as sex toys, basically. Just be very aware of what part of the vagina they are hitting. It's the 3 rules, right? More lube, more communication, and go slow. No matter what, if you do those 3 things, you're gonna be setting yourself up for success. Listen to your partner, and become a master fister. So as always, thank you so much for joining me today. Please like and subscribe if you like the video, because I will be posting more. Let me know if you have any ideas for a video that you would like to see me do. As for this video, I hope you were entertained. And don't forget to leave down in the comments if you have any favorite shops for your lube and your sex toys, other things like that. Queer and people of color businesses to the front. So, yeah. Anyway, until next time, enjoy yourself.